So I've got some tomatoes here and some brassicas, broccoli and cabbage here that I mass planted. Let's see here. Those are the amaranth. They haven't come up yet, so I'll put those back in the greenhouse. And I've got some eggplants over here that I need to transplant. So that's on the agenda for today. Got 180 of plant 5. Here's the mass planted. This one I think is broccoli. And you can see there's a lot of seed in there and it's pretty leggy. So what we're going to do is we're going to transplant them and prepare them for input into the Fawn 2 system. So I've got some water down there and I've taken the plug out. And I'm going to try to move gently some of this soil before I dunk it in the water. And I'm going to dunk it in the water and separate each plant. I've done this before and I've got a video up on it again, but I'll do kind of an overview of it here for you. Okay, I grab it all like this and I simply take it here and I just dunk it till the soil comes off, and then I'll just pull them apart to come apart real easy. And there they are, just sitting in the water waiting to be planted. There's probably 50 from that one pot here, and I've got 2 more of those. So yeah, it's kind of like a microgreen, isn't it? That's what it looks like now, but this is the way I mass plant. So I just take a container, a little pot here, and I put it down in there, root on the bottom, and then I just put the medium around it, and that's what it looks like when it's done. And I set it in some water while I work on others. I got 36 broccoli, 36 cabbage, and I've got spares of broccoli and spares of cabbage here. I got my eggplant and other small tomatoes and whatnot that haven't matured enough to go into bigger pots here. And this Fawn 1 gutter serves as a perfect bottom watering method. I am going to grow things a little bit, or start things off a little differently with my cucurbits and a couple others. I'm starting them all in a screened in soak first, and the reason why I'm doing it with the screen is first because the holes are too big. I don't want one of these skinny seeds to slip out. So I fold them in some screen. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I fold it in thirds like this and I stuff it down in here, and what that does is that keeps it on the bottom, so when I add water to this tray it'll come up and it'll keep it soaked under the water. And then I put a label on it like this, and it also keeps it from coming out of the sides here, and I put it there. Now that particular cucumber is the Suyo long cucumber, and I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to Joe from Joe Miggs' channel. They gave me that. They gave me some bottle gourd, which is also in here somewhere. There it is. And they also gave me some yams, which I've planted over here to try to grow a white and a purple yam. So thank you guys very, very much, Joe. And wanted to say thank you. There's also another one here, a cucamelon, and I have searched for the comment in private messages and emails and everywhere, and I cannot find who gave me those seeds, but I want to thank you very much, and because I sure appreciate it. Okay, I've put some off-gassed water. It's just house water that's set, chlorine evaporated. But if you look in here, you can see how it's keeping the majority of the seeds submerged, which is what I want. We're going to leave them in there for about 12 hours. I'll take them out of the water tomorrow. Kind of do it. I got this inspiration from microgreens soaking, so we'll take them out of the water, and then we're going to leave them on the tray until they sprout. And then after they sprout, I'll put them in the little little multi-trays, packet of seed starting trays. I'll show you that. These actually, right here. This is the next day, about 12 or 14 hours later. We're going to do them just like we do microgreens. So I've taken and I've used one of these little squares here basically for each type of seed and put the label next to it so I'll know what the seed is. Spread them out there. I'm going to put a cap over it, but first thing we're going to do is the same thing we do with microgreens. We're going to spray it with my antifungal, and if it works for my antifungal, if it works with my microgreens, antifungal does, then why not do it the exact same way with these different seeds here. And I'll go over these different seeds and kind of tell you what I'm planting besides tomatoes and peppers. So we've got my Uncle Don's okra there. We've got some cucamelon. We've got some suyo long cucumbers, seed given. This is a squash variety of mine called Christmas. This is Madison's, oh, that fly made it in there. He's not going to make it, I bet you. This is Madison's Cross, my next generation, final generation actually. This is Bottle Gourd from Joe. This is my Butternut Cross. It's actually 3 different butternuts blended. Golden Glory, which is a zucchini. Kirkman melon, I like melons. Ambrosia melons. Madison's Choice, which is the hybrid cross with early prolific. Crane melon. This is my Uncle Don's melon. It's a yellow melon. It's probably a canary melon, but I'm not quite sure. I need to get one to full eatable quality. This is a melon called Tapita. Let's see what we've got here. This is another squash of mine. It's a variant off a lemon squash. Sweet Success cucumber, Bidwell melon, Cavili squash. That's a parthenocarpic squash, zucchini, and early prolific squash. So those are what I'm germinating here. And once the little tails start sprouting, we'll put them in some trays. And I'll put the blackout dome over it. These are the seeds just 2 days later, and you can see over there on the CEO cucumbers, the tails are out. And these need to be planted before they get into the substrate or below the mesh. Along with the, it looks like Sweet Success cucumber seeds. There's little bitty tails on others as well, and where there's a tail, that's a germination is the way I'm seeing it. I'm going to plant them into this 72 cell pot or container tray here, and if it's too cold to plant them out in 3 to 4 weeks, then what I'll end up doing is planting them in solo cups like I did with the tomatoes. Alright, so let's plant the suyo since they're one of the longest ones sprouting right now. I've got my tray set up. I've got the suyo there. I only need 2 plants, but I'm planting 3. I always plant a little extra, and 10% extra is a good thing, a good kind of rule if you want to do such things. So I've got my tweezers here. I'm going to take the back of the tweezers here, and I'm going to make a little hole, and I'm going to go over here and pick up the seed with my tweezers. I'm going to attempt to pick up the seed with my tweezers. It's a little bit slimy right now. Oh, looks like the lights are about to come on. And I'm going to drop it, oop, not in its correct place first, in the hole. Oh, there goes the lights. We're going to gently make sure it gets to the bottom of the hole and flip it around and cover it up here. And if it needs a little bit extra soil, I've got a little bit extra medium to put on top of it there. Lightly do something with that. And I made these little tomato twine indicators to let me know that that particular one has been planted. and I'm going to do that for these other two here, and that'll be it. That's pretty much the way I'm going to do all of them. So as they sprout, like I'll do suyo today, and I'll do the Sweet Success today, and the others look like they can wait a little bit longer. So I'll probably check twice a day and do this. They're all coming up pretty well now. So let me show you something that happens with these smaller cells. You see how the soil's displaced, and it has potential issues down there. What I do is I spray it back into place around the little seedling, just like so. And I also wet the seed coating that's on the seeds, or that's on the catalina seed leaves, like you see there. And when they soak that in a little bit, they're real easy to get off without hurting the plant. So you don't want to do that when it's dry. Now these will pop off naturally most of the time. This one, yeah, it's a little immature. But when they're soaked, they come off pretty easily. That one's a little tough, and we'll leave that one. Anyway, here's one. This one's probably too young to pull off, but we'll see. Nope, came right off. Anyway, if you're going to do that, you need to be gentle or you'll tear it. You'll tear the cotyledons. Not that that does a lot of damage, because they're just the first leaves. As long as they can spread and the little true leaves come out from the center, it'll still be okay. Remember those onions? Not enough to cover all this grow area. So I'm going to take my broccoli that left over, I'm rinsing it out here, I'm going to pull it apart, and I'm going to plug into these holes, not right next to each other. I'll give some spacing. There's the broccoli planted now, all of it from that one pot, and I watered it in. The rest is over there on the other side of the onions. This is one of the trays I planted the cucurbits, and the germination was pretty good on a lot of them, but they didn't germinate all at the same time. Don's melon is an example. I've got looks like 3, one coming up here, and looks like one's trying to come up over here too, possibly. And I did plant an extra one in there that hadn't sprouted yet. Same goes for the Kirkman and the tappeta melon. It looks like the Kirkman's got 4 and the tappeta's got 3, and I went ahead and planted the others, doubling up, and you can see here that some of the doubles took because they hadn't sprouted. I wanted to make sure that a cell was filled, but for the most part I waited for them to start sprouting and then I planted them. And I got, as you can see here, oh, that one's kind of stiff, there it came. On the ambrosias, I got every single cell was sprouted. The same with the Sweet Success, the same with the suyo cucumber. None of the bottle gourd had started. Sorry, Joe. I went ahead and planted them, and none have come through. None of them have sprouted or have come through in this tray. Now this is a tray where I had 100%. Everyone sprouted, and as they sprout I planted them and everyone came up. I got various ones here, but mostly this is my butternut squash I'm breeding. It's 3 different lines mixed into that. I've got some Golden Glory and Kavili, which is back here, and I also have a line of mine that I call Christmas, and I'm trying to get the next generation on that one. It was I think it was line number 2 a couple years ago, but it's a really pretty round squash with a lot of stripes through it. So I'm trying to get that one to carry forward, and I haven't been successful so far, so we're growing out some more. These are peppers and tomatoes I had planted before, and you can see the one tag there in the middle that's facing the other direction. It's facing to the right of the screen now as you look at it. Well, that is me filling those spots that didn't germinate with Madison's Choice, and it doesn't look like any of those have come up yet, which is disappointing. But right behind it is a row of 4, I think, of Don's Okra. I hope it come up. The rest are extra peppers and tomatoes of my breeding. And finally, a tray here. I've got more Christmas, and I've got those in these 3 here, and I've got Madison's Cross, the next and final generation before it's an open pollinated. And look at these squash, they're so pretty coming up. Madison's Cross, they're so delicate compared to the others, and not delicate's not the right word, it's kind of small and petite. And anyway, I'm really happy I bred this one. I really enjoy this one, but I got 100% germination, it looks like, in Madison's Cross, which is good. They all started sprouting as I planted them. The next one's early prolific. It's for the cross to Madison's Cross to make Madison's Choice. We're going to attempt to give that a go, since it didn't look like none of the other that I grew before germinated. And right here we've got the crane melon. We really like melons. The crane melon only had a couple that germinated, which is disappointing, but I went ahead and planted these. We'll see if they come up anyway. And then we got some cucamelon seeds that were given to us, and if you want to chime in, I appreciate it. But yeah, none have come up yet. I planted 3. I soaked 3, and it looked like a tail on one of them. The first one with the label in it was going to come through, but it hasn't broken the soil yet, so I'm hoping still in those. But this is the final flat. Now I'll go outside and give you a quick run around of what the tomatoes look like, and the brassicas, and then we'll wrap up this video. This is what my tomatoes look like now, planted in solo cups. They're getting pretty good size, and they can grow in here for another couple of weeks pretty easily. Solo cup will support that, but they're getting pretty good size, and they do need to be planted. So as soon as I get things ready here in the greenhouse, I'll do that. But yeah, a good bit of tomatoes. Good bit of tomatoes. And we love the tomatoes, and I'm doing it for my breeding work as well. And finally, in this old Fawn 1 platform here, I've got the broccoli and the cabbage, and this is what they look like now. There's the extras, and even a couple little tomatoes. We'll see how those go. And that's it, you guys. This will wrap up this video. This is Brent. We'll see you later.